I just bought this Unisaw. It's likely from the maybe the 50s, I guess. It's got a funny kind of an oval shape opening for the motor on the side, so that's why I say that. And it's got the metal cranks on it. So I don't know. It doesn't have a serial number on it, so I can't tell for sure. But that's what I think. It was missing a few things. It's missing these. I borrowed this off of my other table saw. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fabricate some of these. I've already started. In fact, I've turned the threaded part, and I just had to put handles on them. I used tool steel for this because that's what I had. I guess it'll be nice and shiny for a little while, and the threads won't wear out on it. Anyways, another problem I have is it came with a 3-phase motor. It's a 223 phase, and I could drive it with a VDF, but it seems a waste of technology in a way, because the VDF is just going to be running at, you know, a fixed frequency. It's no fun in that. I do use them. I have them on my one of my lathes, and I have another one here that I use to drive my Bridgeport and this Arbota gearhead drill press. They're both 600 volts. So what I do is I drive a transformer that's in behind the Bridgeport there, and that supplies the 600 volts for both of these. And I just switch it here at the Bridgeport when I need to direct it to either one or the other, because I don't want to obviously drive them both at the same time. Oh, I also use it to drive the surface grinder. Anyways, back to the problem here. 2 horsepower, 3-phase motor. Nothing wrong with it really. Works just fine, but I don't want to put an inverter on it. I have this 1800 kilowatt Dietz motor. That it's a single phase 200 volts or 220 volts, and it should do the trick. Unfortunately, it has a flat mount on it, and the Unisaw comes with this special bracket that mounts onto the, I guess I'll call it the swing arm of the table saw. I was thinking of cutting these off and just welding them onto a plate, but I want to keep that motor just in case I, you know, in the future go to a 3-phase, or I have 3-phase available. So it wasn't much trouble to make these. I made a drawing for them, but in the end all I did was just lay a piece of 2-inch flat bar on there. Well, it's 2-inch by, we'll say 4 inches, and it's a quarter thick. That's what I used for the ears. They're a little thicker than what's on the motor, but I don't care. And I fabricated these little spacers to keep them exactly spaced. So when I weld it onto this plate, which it's also 1/4 inch, it's 7 by 6 by a 1/4 inch thick. Doesn't need to be that thick, but that's what I had. Anyways, that's going to go on there, and this goes on here. Now there is one other little bit of a problem. This is not centered. It's off to the center on this. So what I did is I laid out the positioning of it on my welding table here, and I'll position the motor and everything so that it lines up, and then I'll tack it, take it apart, and then weld it up and do a test fit. Hopefully it should work just fine. Anyways, I just thought I'd mention that, because, you know, I'm sure that I'm not the only one that's come across a Unisaw that was powered by a 3-phase motor and they don't have a 3-phase drop at their house. So I'm making a bracket because I have a flat mount. The dimensions would change with whatever motor you put on it, I suppose. This is a European motor, actually. It's I'm also going to have to turn down the shaft. It's a 24 millimeter, and I believe that is 3/4. by the looks of it. Anyways, I'm going to turn down the shaft, and I'll just I'll mill a new key in it, and it will become a 3/4 inch shaft. It came with a switch. I have it out near the shop right now. It was a 3-phase switch, but it wasn't a magnetic starter. It was just a manual switch. So I'm going to put a magnetic starter on it, and it's missing this access plate at the front. I'll probably just make something out of 1/4 inch and 1/4 inch thick plywood or something like that, and put it on. I'm also going to put I think a little cover for the motor on the side, and I'll cut a port out for dust collection. And of course I'm going to strip it all down and paint it. Another thing I have to do, I guess, is these bearings are dry. I think it's sit for quite a while, so the lubrication's gone hard in them. So I think I'll take that apart and replace the bearings while I have it all disassembled. And I am going to put the original fence on initially, and I'll probably put something like what I have on the other table saw. It's an Excalibur parallel fence. You can't get those anymore. I don't think they make them. So I might go to something like a Biesmeyer style fence. I might even make it. I had also thoughts of putting the two table saws side by side, so that might be an interesting configuration. Have them all, mounted side by side, and share the same fence. So I have both a right and a left tilting arbor, so to speak. I mean, they both tilt to the right, but I can have it so that one tilts into the fence and the other one tilts away from the fence, just by positioning this one on the right side and the other one is already on the left hand side. Okay, this is the setup. This is the replacement motor with the brackets on it, and this is the original. As you can see, there's an offset for the brackets. I don't know if it's necessary or not, really. As far as I can tell by looking at the saw, I don't think it is, but they did it for a reason, so I'm going to copy it, and this is what I have. As it turns out, I'm going to have to mount those ears pretty close to the end here, and I'm going to lose that one bolt unless I weld a stud in there, which I might do. Anyways, it looks like it's going to work. So I'm replacing this 2 horsepower 3-phase with this 1800 kilowatt 3-phase. 1800 kilowatts is I'm going to say around 2.4 horsepower. I think it's going to be a good compromise. So now I'm going to I'll mark it, I think, and then put a little tack on it, take the plate off the motor and weld it up and put it back on and do a tri-fit. So I hope this gives you guys ideas for your Unisaw, assuming you have to replace the motor. You can always go out and buy a specific motor for it, but I had this one. The motor, the replacement motor, was going to be more than I paid for the Unisaw, and I'm a cheap bastard. So this is my solution. Okay, here it is, hot off the press. I welded up those ears after positioning it just so, I hope. And when that cools down, I'll do a tri-fit.